All right, it's a Thursday, and if you guys have been following me for a little while, you know, on Thursdays, that's my day off during the week, and then I have time to come to the shop and work, usually on my E36. Now I have the new 335i project. So if you guys didn't see the last video, recently picked up this 335i for 4K, and we're gonna turn this thing into a drift build over the next year. Now, what I'm doing today is just a little bit of E92 updates, a little bit of E36 updates. So if you guys have been following, you know I have the leaking oil pan on the E36, so we're gonna get that car up, take the oil pan off, send that to a shop to get the crack in the oil pan fixed. And then while I'm at it, after I'm done with the E36, if I have any more time, I'm gonna start diving into the E92. I'm gonna clean off the dirty, grimy engine bay. So we're gonna clean the oil-soaked engine bay, try to figure out where all these oil leaks are coming from. The front tire also blew out, so I got to change the front tire before I even moved them. So I'm gonna put the E36 over here and put the E92 over there. So first thing on my list is just to change the tire and then get into the oil pan on the E36. Now for the E36, in the last video, I broke this dial and I put this one in. This is my backup one. Now I did realize after, when I go to the second one, I get nighttime running lights, I get tail lights at the back, but I don't get the headlights at the front. Then when I go all the way to my full lights, I then get my low beams at the front, but my nighttime running lights just disappear, and I have no tail lights. So that's not good. I gotta find a fix for that, because last time I was driving at night, I had to basically just hold my trigger on the high beam so that I could have some lights in front of me and tail lights at the back. That's no good. Now, I'm not gonna be installing this stuff in this video, but I wanted to give you guys a sneak peek for future videos. I have bought all this stuff for the E92, just some simple aesthetic things. So this is like carbon fiber layover trim on the inside, some door panel stuff. I got 3M double-sided tape for a spoiler. We got some black duct tape to fix up the seat, a spark plug socket, got push button start, just some red washers in case I need that for anything, some shift cover boots, shifter and e-brake, steering wheel trim, Alcantara steering wheel cover, and some M pedals as well. And I got a few other things that are on order. Brakes have been ordered, gaskets have been ordered. I also ordered the injector cover since it's missing right here. So we're gonna get an injector cover for the E92. So I got all the oil gaskets. I also ordered up some diff fluids, some brake fluids, some transmission fluids. So we're gonna flush out all the fluids on this car as well. And I'm in the works of trying to find a winter set of wheels since I'm gonna be driving this through the winter time. And then that way, if I can pick up a Kijiji set of winter tires and rims, then I get an extra set of rims for drifting next year. Now I do have another set of Style 66 wheels over here. These ones have the Bridgestone 71Rs. I'm gonna put that on the front left tire so I can move the cars around without having the flat tire. All right, now that I've updated you guys on what my plans are for today, I'm just gonna put a time lapse and we're gonna get the E92 wheel change and we're gonna get the cars switch positions. We're gonna jack up the E36 as high as I can, and we're gonna do everything we can to get that oil pan off as fast as possible. So I have more time to work on the E92 because I don't wanna stay here too late today. Okay, so I got the wheel off. We're definitely gonna need some front struts. Look at this. Spring should be mounted and stopping here. Spring is coiled around the whole thing coming down here. That's so sketchy. I'm surprised nothing went worse when I was on my test drive. That's scary and sketchy. Damn. Oh, look. So that, we did smell rubber from the last video. So the tire was rubbing the spring, and that's what blew out the tire. All right, so we finally got the car jacked up. Let's get underneath here and see what we gotta do. All right, so in order to get the oil pan out there, we're gonna have to remove steering rack, subframe. Looks like this crossbar will have to come out. Power steering pump's gonna have to come off. All right, since the power steering pump is gonna come off and the oil pan's coming down, we're gonna drain some fluids and then just start unbolting a bunch of things. show you the difference between somebody who just works on cars and somebody who would be a master technician. Let me show you what I've learned. And I'm saying I'm not a master technician, I'm just somebody who works on cars. So as I'm taking everything off, I'm trying to get the lower subframe off. I was on the passenger side and I'm like, okay, it's time to get the tie rod off. Before it looked like this. And I'll explain why it looks like this. Take the nut off, I put the nut near the top, I hit it with the hammer. I ended up starting to bend the threads. I try with a piece of wood, the wood just disintegrates. I couldn't get the ball joint out, all right? So then I'm like, well, shit, how am I supposed to take this out if I can't get the freaking tie rod out? So then I figured, you know what? I'll just unbolt the strut, I'll unbolt the control arm from there, which also I tried to get the ball joint out on the other side for the subframe, and I couldn't get that to drop as well. This technique probably would have worked for both of them. And I was like, you know what? I'll just drop the whole subframe, power steering rack, and the whole strut and knuckle and everything, and I'll just leave the brake caliper up there. And then I'm starting to do that. I've got everything apart. It's lanky, the struts are heavy, all this is trying to fall. And I realized that the power steering rack disconnecting from the steering wheel is not just sliding off. It's just sticking there, and now none of this wants to come down. So then I'm realizing, like, even if I left this all together, how am I supposed to put this back together with all this weight and just how am I supposed to do this? It's like impossible. So I was like, you know what? Let's try and get the tie rod out again. And you'll see I got this one loose on this side. So what I figured was, instead of banging on the net and potentially losing the threads, why didn't I get the Allen key that fits right into the top here and then hit my hammer on that? So that's what I did on the other side, and then it popped out. So we're gonna do that on this side, then we're gonna undo the rack, and then we're gonna wiggle the rack out. And I just made this so much harder on myself. Like, I didn't need to remove my strut, I didn't need to remove my knuckles, but that is what we're doing now anyway, so let's just get it done. So yeah, if you ever need to do this, don't do it like I'm doing it. Get this stuff off while it's underneath there. Disconnect your control arms before you drop your subframe, because that was one of the worst experiences I've ever done. So when you do stuff wrong, it gets worse. Do stuff right the first time. Don't be like me. Okay, so I got everything off. And then when I did that, I realized that there was a groove right here. And this bolt was in that groove, was stopping it from coming out. So I had to fully take that bolt off, and then it just slid out so easily. So if I had just taken that bolt out right away, this probably would have slid down and the whole thing would have stayed together, but it still would have been a huge pain in the ass. So it's probably better that it went this way. And now if I ever do this again, now I know, even though I have done this before, it was just so long ago, I forgot. But now it's all apart, and now I can get to the oil pan. And now it's time to get the oil pan out. But it looks like it will be uninterrupted, because I just gotta get all the bolts out, and then it should crack off. Although maybe I should try and take the dipstick tube out. Yeah, let's take the dipstick tube off. Okay, so I got the oil pan off. This is what it looks like underneath. Everything is nice and brown. You'll see this is the Z4 pickup tube. So I upgraded the pickup tube when I put it all together. Question for anybody that would know, is the oil chain supposed to have this much slack in it? I never touched it. That's just how it's been. I'm just wondering if that's normal. Other than that, everything else looks clean. Just have to clear the gaskets off when I go to replace it. Now let's take a look at the oil pan. Oil pan is over here. So this is, there's a nick here and a nick here, and you can start to see kind of a crack right along there. Then when I flip it around and you look on the inside, you can really start to see that crack. So you can see it there. Looks like it goes all the way up to here, maybe there, it's hard to tell. And then comes all the way down here, ends right about there. Now I do have the vac baffle, so that's what made me think that, okay, well, if I have to take this out and then I have to weld this into this oil pan, instead of cleaning that one up, maybe the person who's welding can just grind this gouge down and fill it in, because either way, that oil pan's got to be welded, or this one does. And I've done that, and I've done a bung here in case I ever want a turbo for a turbo return line. So that's why I prefer if I could just fill this crack in, because on this one, when I was taking it off, like I broke this corner here, I broke the upper tab here, and I broke the corner tab. I guess I didn't break the corner tab, but I broke those two tabs, and like it's extremely grimy. So if I didn't have to take off all that coating and everything like that, that would be great. So I'm gonna try and get this one fixed up. If person's like, nah, that's too far gone, you just need a new oil pan, then I got this one ready to go. All right, so both oil pans are loaded up in the trunk and they're ready to take. So if the crack can't be fixed, then we're just gonna move the baffle over to the spare oil pan. I wanna get a little bit on the E92 before I go. The spoiler that was on the E36 before I put the lightweight on, it's not the exact one, but I think it will be malleable or whatever, and it'll bend, and I think that's what I'm gonna use instead of ordering a spoiler. E36 looks like this. One thing I wanted to do on the E92 before I head home, because I'm pretty much exhausted, I've been here forever, I just wanted to see if my code reader that I use for the E36 will work for the E92. So let's plug it in and find out. So the engine light does stay on while I'm driving, so I just want to see if this is going to work. And oh, we got something. Thermostat, thermal oil level sensor, power management battery. So I'm guessing the battery was dead at one point, and he said he recently replaced the thermostat, so I don't know. I'm going to look into it. If anybody knows what these codes mean, just drop a comment down below, but I'm going to research it and see what I can find.